Mick, and today I'm going to talk about implementing school uniforms. This business proposal could be for school superintendents or maybe even at a meeting about someone that might be interested in sending school uniforms throughout the schools for a certain school, community, public, private. Um, do you know how much you spent maybe last year on school uniforms or school clothing for your children if they went to a public school? The average spent was $688.62, according to the National Retail Federation. Every year, millions of parents spend hundreds of dollars for back to school shopping. New clothes. Your children have grown out of clothes from last year, books and supplies, backpacks, those sorts of things. For children, sometimes this can be very exciting, but for parents, it can be a headache or stressful, wondering where you might come up with the money to get all the supplies that they need or to go out and buy the latest fashion trends. um, Schools across the United States have started implementing school uniforms. There are many reasons why the uniforms are a good idea. Let's start with why school uniforms can be such a good idea. One of the first reasons is it helps break the barriers in classrooms. Most public schools and private schools have dress codes. A lot of times you have to wear tank tops, have to be 3 fingers wide. A lot of them measure your hands down to your side, and your shorts can't be any shorter than that, or skirts are 2 inches above the knee. And those are the most standard ones around here for public school. And when students don't abide by that, it can be distracting for the class. And also, you're going to be sent home, or your parents are going to have to come and bring you something that is appropriate for class. So, that would be one. Another problem is it sets a barrier between students when some students have nicer clothes or the most trendiest clothes than the other. And it kind of breaks up the rich and the poor stereotype that I think a lot of kids see and are part of in a school system. And wearing a uniform kind of makes each student feel an equal, and which is also helpful in self-esteem. They're not labeled as the poor kid or the kid that doesn't have the cool clothes, since everybody's wearing about the same thing. And it can also help with bullying, because people do get picked on for the clothes that they wear if they aren't the nicest clothes, which makes them have a hard time at school. And so having the more self-esteem and being confident in what you wear will give those students probably a better chance at being successful in class, because they're not distracted by being picked on by other students. Uniforms can also save big bucks. The average, or according to Statistic Brain, the average cost for parents to purchase school uniforms for a year is around $249, and that's a big difference between $249 and then the $682 that most people spend on average. There are many different styles of uniforms that you can choose from, and a lot of the local stores like Target, Walmart, Kmart, just to name a few, carry the uniforms that you can purchase there, like the khaki pants, the khaki shorts, the polo type shirts with the collar. You can get blue, white, or even tan, and those are usually part of the school uniform. Uniforms also help improve safety in school. Uniforms help prevent gangs from forming on school properties a lot of times, because people can't wear the certain colors that are associated with gangs, and because most of the school uniforms are neutral type colors that don't represent any kind of gang or anything. Uniforms can also help identify an intruder in school. If everybody's wearing these types of uniforms and someone isn't, you can tell that that person doesn't belong at the school or is a guest at the school. Statistic Brain also states that in one of Long Beach, California, schools implemented school uniforms and report the following results, which I thought were quite surprising. Overall, the crime rate dropped by 91%. School suspension dropped by 90%. Sex offenses were reduced by 96%. And fighting in school dropped by 38%. And these statistics alone show that by wearing the uniforms, the students really are focusing more on what they're learning in class and not what everybody's wearing or, bullying. And I think that says a lot about what a school uniform could do. Another thing is, in the mornings, I know I have this trouble. I have twins that are 7 years old, and you wouldn't think at 7 years old they're picky, but they are. And so it takes us a while to get school clothes ready for the next day. It's something that we do the night before. And if they had school uniforms, it would make the mornings and the evenings so much easier because, you have set things that you wear and you don't have a huge option to choose from. So, are you going to wear a blue polo shirt or a white polo shirt? Those will be about the toughest options that you would have to choose from. So, for me, I feel like that it would make things easier as a parent, and you could go and buy these for not that much money. And for example, Target, the uniform pants, which are just usually the khaki type pants, are $12.99. And it's hard to find a pair of jeans even at a price of $12.99. And then the shirts you can buy for $10.99, which is, again, I think a reasonable cost because that's about what an average type t-shirt would cost. And just to have a couple pair of those pants and a couple of shirts would save tons of money versus going out and having to buy, brand new jeans, brand new shirts, that because your children usually will grow out of the clothes that they had the year before, especially in the younger grades. And it would save a lot of money, I think, for people. And that was one of the cons that some people think that school uniforms, oh, I'm going to have to go and spend all this money purchasing these extra uniforms like it's extra money. But if you look at it in the way of you don't have to buy a ton of these, that it really does save a lot of money. I feel like that we all want the best for our children. We all want them to have a good opportunity at school to learn and to do their best and not to have the kinds of distractions that we probably do have in school these days. And we also would like a safe environment for our students. And I think school uniforms help with all of those areas. Um, with such great statistical reviews, and Long Beach, California is not the only school. There's schools closer to us that have the same good statistics about the way that school uniforms have changed their schools and made them a safer place, made them better as far as not having as many fights in school, not having as many suspensions or dropouts, and it kind of gives each student a little bit more self-confidence and probably self-esteem because you have a professional look. And teachers have even agreed that have worked at schools before the uniforms and that still work at the schools after the uniforms, that having the uniforms really they can see a difference in students in class by just having that professional type dress. It boosts the confidence and makes them want to do better in school. And we know that there can be so many distractions, and this also can help. Uniforms also help save time in the morning, break barriers in classes, and have shown to reduce crimes. I encourage school uniforms, and I hope that if you ever have a decision or a vote in it, you will also agree and feel the same way. Thank you.